Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Hi. Oh, looks like the train's coming to a stop already. Did we hit the next station? Oh, there we go. There we go. Hello! My name is Monet of Before Me, second generation Panelite. You could be funky retro cutie Monet. Desu! How am I feeling today? I'm okay. I'm feeling alright. Hello? Oh, I totally forgot to tweet that I'm live. Hold on. Oops. Oops. Hold on. I'm not gonna tweet, actually. We don't need to tweet about it. We don't need to tweet about it. It's fine. But yeah. It's a little embarrassing saying this out loud on the train, but my name is Monet of Before Me Die, second generation Panelite. You could be funky retro cutie Monet. Desu. Hope you've all had a lovely weekend and a lovely start of your week. When you're on a train, why not? Because we're taking a ride. Oh, we're going through a tunnel. Oops. It looks like it's a short tunnel. I hope you can hear me okay over the sound of the train. At any point the train's a little too loud, let me know. Let me know. Start of my week sucked, but I'm chill now. Me too. That's kind of how I'm feeling too. I don't know if I'm like completely chill yet, but I've been looking forward to having this Satsu stream with you guys. To just like chat freely and talk about a lot of stuff on my mind. And I like train rides a lot. I like being on trains a lot, so to me they're very chill, comfy spots, you know? When you're on a train, you don't really have much to distract you, right? You have this stuff that you brought with you, right? You have the train. And that's it. There's really, you can't really go anywhere else, right? You rode a train once, just once? You should ride them again. They're really fun. Honestly, train rides are really nice. I've taken a lot of train rides, like, just for fun, you know? Just for fun. Train rides are pretty relaxing, right? They are. I've taken some long train rides. I kind of want to try taking... Well, it's a little off topic, but... I kind of want to try one day taking a kind of train ride that, like, takes, like a day or two. You know what I mean? Of course, y'all can sit here. I think taking like a really long train ride sounds fine. Yeah, like an overnight train. I've only taken overnight buses. And going on bus isn't quite the same. It's not the same. I like being on the train more. Being on buses is like not that much like different than being in a car, in my opinion. No, because you're still taking the roads. Yeah, I think the being on the tracks, right? It's special. You end up in different places. On train date, maybe. Oh, thank you, Misha. Your train baby. Your train baby. Have a baby. Your train baby. Alright, EB. I struggle to get out of bed a bit today. It's a little hard. Really get out of bed. I mentioned it a lot, but sometimes when I do these streams, right, especially at this time of day, 99.9% of the time, this is the first time I've like spoken all day since waking up. I don't speak a single word usually until I get on stream, right? Unless I speak to my cats, I guess, but I don't like say anything, so then I start talking. I start yawning, sorry. I start yawning, sorry. Today felt very slow. Yeah, a long day today. Me too, you guys. It's been a rough time. I'm not gonna get into it because I don't want to bring you guys down. Alright? We're here to relax. And we're here to chill and talk. But it's been a hell of a time. The last week or so. You know? But being here with you guys is what makes it nice. So. At least on the train, it's just you and me. No one else. No one else to come and interrupt our time, right? Nobody can come bother us on the train. So today, it's mostly a free range Satsudan stream, but there are some things I want to talk about, right? Hot meal, desserts, and hot meal sounds really good, and dessert. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for 11 months of Takaramono. It's almost a year. Thank you! Thank you! So, where do I start? Hi. Where do I start? What about a diner carriage or a cart being brought to your table? Sounds a little too fancy. I think I'm more the kind to just like, I don't know. Seems a little fancy. I'm not really a fancy type of girl, you know? It sounds a little extravagant. I'm not really the type of girl that likes like fancy restaurants and stuff like that, you know? So I don't know, I like more like down to earth stuff, you know? Yeah. So I'm pretty satisfied with just, you know, like getting some food before we get on the train, right? And eating it there. Or like buying something from the little cafe in the train, you know? But if it was like a nice train that had like a nice meal, that'd be really nice. Yeah, or like a packed lunch. Yeah. Oh, this song has a lot of tongues. Yeah. With some nuggies on the train. Every once in a while, I still think about the bag of popcorn chicken I accidentally left on a train. I was eating some leftover popcorn chicken on the train, and I left it there on accident. And I still think about, hi, Sunless! I still think about it. I feel bad leaving stuff like that on the train. It's a nice day for a train ride, right? Yeah. It's probably still there. I hope not. If I'm group mom for a trip, I buy a huge board of onigiri for everyone. Otherwise, I'll eat a banh mi. I had a banh mi today. That's what I had for lunch. I had a banh mi. Never took a long train ride. Didn't need to stop to eat something. This is nice to have a snack. You know? Ah! Thank you so much, Tech, for 1 year. Congrats! 1 whole year. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. I like taking trains a lot. You can't really get that much done on them, but I've had a lot of like nice moments on trains, right? Although like times that I've tried to draw or something, I can't usually draw on a train. It's too shaky, right? But the first time I watched a lot of Alf in Japanese was on a train, actually. I was like, I don't know what to watch. And I just kind of needed some background noise, so I just put on Alf. And that was like one of the first times I like really watched it. And after watching Alf for 2 hours on the train, that's when it all began, you know? Thank you, please. Thank you, Savior! Thank you so much for 13 months. Thank you. And Captain, thank you so much for 15 months. Oh my gosh. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I really want to take a long train ride. I think it sounds nice. I'm only taking like really long trips. I've only ever taken really long trips on bus. I took a night bus to Mexico. And that kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. But oh well. Adam, thank you so much for 15 months of Takaramono. About a year since I started the outing, huh? Yeah, I guess so. Thank you, Felius, too, for 15 months. And Joker for 15 months of music creator. Thank you, you guys. Oh my gosh. We've been together that long? Oh my god. Oh my god. Always love cozy hanging out with you. Thank you, birthday! I have a very vivid memory of being on a bus to Mexico. Like a night bus to Mexico with my mom. And she was trying to sleep. And there were some like ladies just like blabbing all night long on the bus. And she got so mad, and like I've never seen my mom like be like this. Like my mom is not a Karen, right? She is not that type. So like I'd never seen her like get like this, and she like straight up like yelled at the lady. She's like, "Can you shut up? Like, can you be quiet?" Yeah, I brought out the beast in here. Mom, thank you so much for 11 months. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So I guess let's talk about some of the things that I wanted to talk about, right? So I guess I'll start off by talking about V-Fest, Sanrio V-Fest. First of all, thank you to everybody that went to go see us at Sanrio V-Fest. I realize it's something that only a small handful of people probably saw, right? I feel like even within the company, I'm probably one of the only people that really cared about it. So I don't know. I've been going to V-Fest, Sanrio V-Fest, since their very first year, right? I've always been somebody that's like, ever since I was a teenager, I've been really into like what you would call like kind of like virtual spaces and virtual music like that. Thank you, Mary! Thank you so much for 13 months. I'll have money to buy the equipment. I mean, I shouldn't have to say it again, but I've said it countless times that you don't need VR equipment for this kind of stuff. You know? I've said it over and over and over and over and over again, and I probably will have to say it a million more times again. Right? You don't need VR equipment for this stuff. It does make it more fun, but you don't need it. Okay? You don't need it. Am I on the Otaku line? I think I am. I think I might be. Yeah. No, metaverse Monet. You know, I used to really like the word metaverse. It sucks that the word has changed a lot. When you say metaverse, people think about like Facebook. You know what I mean? It's a shame because the word has been hijacked, and there's not really a good word for it now like there was before, right? But I've always really been fascinated by that kind of stuff, right? The Digiverse. The stupid Web3 and NFTs, right? Anyway, kind of continuing on, right? When I was younger, I used to go out of my way to go to a lot of like music festivals and stuff, right? I started playing Second Life when I was like 16. 15, 16, which is much younger than you're allowed to be on that game. You're supposed to be like, basically the rules were that like if you were under 18, you had to play on a different server, right? That was like Second Life Teens or whatever. It was like the teen grid, they used to call it. But all the cool stuff is on the main grid, right? And grid is what they would call like each like major server, right? So I didn't make that dungeon until I was well over 18, okay? I played that game for 10 years. Okay? I played Second Life like heavily for like 10 years, right? But something that I used to always make time for was there was a lot of like music. And just the way that people found these virtual spaces and made music. And actually, this goes from even before playing that. I know, Second Life has such a shitty reputation, and for good reason. Honestly, it's kind of a shit game. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a shit game. But it did have its beauty, you know? And it was pretty easy for me to ignore all the stuff I didn't like about it, and just kind of like have fun making a world, right? I wanted to experience it like a virtual world. Ever since being into dot hack as a kid, right? I always just wanted to experience like a virtual world where people had freedom. So even before that, I remember I used to play this game called Coke Music. That I feel like only 5 people in the world know about. Coke Music. 2 of them are probably tabemonos. The rest are probably random people out there in the world. Not many people remember Coke Music. It was just like a little... almost like a flash game. Where it was like Habbo Hotel, but Coke branded, kind of. But you could make music and perform music within the game. It had a little like music maker, and you could perform music inside of the game. It was very shitty, right? It was very shitty. It went by a lot of different names. It was called My Coke at one point, Coke Music, and all sorts of stuff, right? But that was a kind of game where like you could customize your little avatar, right? You could have your little room, decorate your little room. You could invite people to your little room. I didn't have friends in this kind of stuff, right? Most of the times when I've played these kind of games, it's a very solitary thing, and I'm totally okay with that. But you don't have to feel bad for that. It's not a sad thing. It's not like an aw, poor Mono. It's not like that, you know. But you could go into these main lobbies and watch people perform music, and it wasn't good music, but it was live music anyway, and you could enjoy it with everybody and enjoy it in a crowd, right? And that always really stuck with me. So, as a teenager, when I started getting into like more, I've always like tried this in MMOs, right? It's one of the main reasons I got so into MMOs as a kid. I've played like every MMO. Well, not every, but I played a lot of random ones. I always really liked how in Mabinogi, for example, you could perform music. You could perform for others, right? You could kind of bring something from the real world into the virtual world, even in an MMO. So it was the same when I played something like Second Life, where honestly, all I really did in that game was like play dress up, and go exploring, and take screenshots, right? Eventually, as I got older, started having my own money to spend, right? I started becoming a world builder in Second Life, so I would landscape areas, I would build houses, I would build like really intricate areas. But they were never public, they were always just for me. They were always just for me. It was like my own little private little area, right? Hi, Marangoni, what's that? What's that? But something that always really stuck with me more than anything else in my time playing that game, was discovering the live music scene in this virtual space. So there was one time I was exploring like a Japanese users area, and there was this little house of this girl with a very cute avatar, and it was just this little like house with a big tree, and it was just all screenshots of her outfits and her friends. It was all just screenshots of them together. And she had this little radio that was playing a song by the group Choo Choo. Nothing to do with the movie all about Lily Choo Choo, right? Nothing to do with it. They just happen to share the same name, right? There's a chance that the band was inspired by the movie. Who knows? We don't know. We don't really know, actually. But it was there that I found them for the first time. And going on a crazy deep dive, right? To find the songs and find who it was, right? No, shut up, you guys. But it was there that I realized it kind of opened up this whole kind of like universe for me, right? Because it turned out that Shushu was they call themselves a virtual group. It was made up of a girl living in New York, a guy living in Japan, and even though they didn't live together, or even though they didn't live even in the same country, in the same continent, right? They made music together. And so they were making music by sending the files back and forth, you know, just doing everything online, doing everything virtually. And they would perform virtually. Right? They would make these really intricate stages and make these like intricate concepts and everything, right? Particles and lights and these outfits that could never be possible in real life. These like stages that could never be possible in real life. And they would do these live shows. And they became like... It became like such a huge thing for me, right? Of course, all these live shows were always in Japan time, so I would have to wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, you know, to go see these shows live, right? One of the first ones I got to attend was in they made this like huge cathedral that had like all these like spiraling staircases, right? And at like you know, at the main part of the cathedral, right? Like with all this like stained glass and everything, it was like a big moon that would shine through the glass, and then they had a big piano, and then like stages for the singers and everything. Even though it was only 2 people in the band, they got their friends to like pretend to play instruments, you know? And they would have the live audio going through the music feed of the world that you could set up, right? Yeah, they're super cool, right? So that kind of stuff, like, you remember when I was young, really opened my eyes to like, oh, you can do a lot here. You can do a lot, like the sky really kind of is the limit for this kind of virtual stuff, right? So I kept attending live music stuff, right? Sometimes it's just people playing guitar, you know, into their microphone. Sometimes it's full-on like orchestrated shows. I went to a music festival once. I got to see Arai Tasuku, who that was their name back then. I don't know what their name is now, but I know that they've grown so much that they've done music for anime now. So like a lot of these artists are still going, right? You know, they break out of the virtual and they go into the real life. So that kind of stuff like really always interested me. And so of course it's one of the big reasons that I think other like virtual spaces are really cool, right? For example, most of the time now that I see a lot of like performances is in VR chat because that is by far the biggest, like, the biggest kind of like, I guess you could call it a metaverse right now, right? That is by far the biggest one at the moment. But but so I've attended a lot of music events, DJ shows, jazz performances. I've attended like shows where there's like a live programmer streaming their feed into a screen while at the same time a musician plays music live. You know? I've seen African drums with belly dancing live. All sorts of things. Like, it really is like the sky is the limit. I've seen idol performances, rock performances, stuff like that. You know? It's really, really cool. I've seen buskers. There's this really cool event where it's a Japanese event where this group will just pick a big world, right? And then it's a busking event, so everybody just picks a corner of the world, and they'll play music, and you can just go and wander around and listen to random people play music. Some people will be playing piano, some people will be playing violin, some people will be singing, some people will be playing guitar, right? All sorts of stuff. It's really, really, really cool. It's really cool. So, when the very first Sanrio V-Fest got announced, of course I had to be there. I had to be there, right? I was no stranger to, like, you know, like festival stuff like this, right? And I've been no stranger to like art in the virtual space, right? So I made an effort to go to the first one, and it's still a moment I like really, 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 really remember, right? It's just in VR. It was my first time seeing stuff of that like scale in VR, right? And if you've worn a VR headset before, then you know what I'm talking about. How like it really does feel like you're there. Like, even if things are kind of like virtual, even if things are kind of low poly sometimes, like, or even if it doesn't look like hyper realistic, it really does like give you the impression that you're there, right? The sensation is there. So the first Sanrio V-Fest was like in 2021, I think, something like that. That's around the year that I started going to VCAT also. 2020, 2021 or so. But I thought, okay, you know, it's Sanrio. They've got big money, right? Like, this is major money here. Like, this isn't just individuals putting on a little show. This is a major music festival, right? And sure enough, it was really cool. I've seen the evolution of it go from, you know, at first it was like a show that just kind of like spotlighted a couple of like cool up and coming like virtual creators, people that are really talented with like the platform, and then some like real life musicians, right? And the same happened for a couple of years. I feel like for a year or two, they really focused on bringing real life musicians into V-Fest, and it was cool, but I feel like those are the years that I wasn't as interested. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It was still cool, but I wanted to see what people in the virtual world were expanding on. It's around that same time, 2020, right, that I started getting into VTubers. Or rather, 2020 was when I first tried out VTubing myself. Started getting into VTubing around 2018-ish. And I was really like fascinated by the way that people could now become full-on virtual people online, you know? Like the way that like you didn't have to be a real person online anymore. Now you could be a virtual person. Now you could like virtual activities could extend to things like, I don't know, making vlogs and stuff like that, right? Some of the first VTubers I watched were Hatobatsugu, right? And I really liked that feeling of like how somebody like Hatobatsugu could make the virtual world feel like a real place, you know? I don't know. It's hard to explain it, but I really like that feeling. You can tell Mono's a Dart Hack fan. Shut up! Yeah, so what? It's true. I can't deny it. I can't deny it. Yeah, I mean, getting into Dot Hack as like a preteen, you know, is what got me into all of this, you know? I really to this day I still kind of prefer like skit and like shorter, not shorter, but like video type content as opposed to streams, right? I do like streams, don't get me wrong. But to this day I always liked, there was this like feeling of like a suspension of disbelief of like this VTuber uploading this video, that it's like, okay, yeah, you know what it really is, right, behind the scenes, but it was a suspension of disbelief of like, oh, this virtual person from another world has managed to get a video on our same platform, you know? It's hard to explain, but I think maybe you can get it, right? Maybe you can understand what I mean. Discovering Dot Hack and Lane as a preteen changed my brain chemistry. Which came first, the Monet or the Dot Hack? Absolutely the Dot Hack, right? I really liked that feeling. I really liked how, at the time, a lot of the VTubers that I was into kind of felt like peering into like virtual life, you know? And I think about a lot of the stuff that I did in games like Second Life. This is so dorky, but I've talked about it before. I used to do historical geisha roleplay in Second Life. It's still a thing, by the way. People still do this in the game. It has been like an ongoing thing. I've never heard about this like anywhere else but like Second Life, and I think like IMVU that people do this stuff, right? But it was like very accurately historic, right? We would learn like the dialect, everything. I forget IMVU exists sometimes, but that counts as a virtual world too. I don't know what they do in there, but I'm sure they're doing crazy stuff over there. Anyway, you don't want to know. I see the ads. I see the ads on Twitter sometimes of these like really grossly deformed IMVU bodies dancing around. I'm not sure what kind of marketing their team is going for, but you know? Anyway, so when we got the opportunity to perform at Sanrio V Fest, I was sound excited, and I tried really hard to show my enthusiasm to the rest of V4 about VFest. I'm happy that like some people showed some interest, although I still, to be honest, I still kind of feel like I'm the only one that like really cared, you know? And I hope that by next year I can convince more and more and more people to check it out, right? Because I think some people see me like shill stuff like VFest or like VCAT, and they're probably like, yeah, whatever, Mono, like, you know, have fun with your furries or whatever. You know? Hi. But how do I explain it? There was a feeling. There was a really like nice feeling like that. Hi. Really nice feeling like that I got being at VFest and getting more involved in VCAT stuff. Of like, and I think this is something that like we can all agree on, is that like real life kind of fucking sucks, right? And I think if you are a VTuber or a VTuber watcher or any sort of like online person, right? You are here for a almost like the sense of escaping the real world, right? Like, I think we are all here and we kind of have our own like virtual personas, right? And virtual persona doesn't necessarily have to be like a VTuber or anything like that, right? Like, it can just be your username and your user icon. It's that simple, right? It's just who you are online, right? Like we're here to kind of escape the real world, right? You come home from work and you get on the computer to get away from work, or you know, or maybe you're not employed, maybe you're neat, right? And you get online to escape the reality of whatever the hell's going on, you know, in real life. Right? Wah! Welcome readers! Welcome, come on, welcome everybody. Hi. My name is Monet from Before May Die. We're talking about, it's kind of a specific subject today. We're talking about art, being a virtual person, like your identity on the internet, the art that you create online, music, all that stuff. It's kind of a. I hope you're not turned off by the subject. But welcome everybody. Love to have you guys talk with me. It's deep. It probably sounds deeper than it is. Probably sounds deeper than it is. Oh, I'm glad. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome. Existential crisis activated. No, not like that. Not like that. No. It's a happy thing. It's not an existential crisis thing. An id? I see. There are form of people. A totally virtual person is something I want to do. I feel like I want to up my skills before fully committing to a persona. I feel like the thing is, you are already. I don't think you know. You're already a virtual person, right? I think if you are somebody that just spends a lot of time online, you know what I mean. You kind of become like a virtual, like an internet citizen, right? I really love. More like I'm really fascinated by this kind of stuff, right? I have a lot of friends that, for example, spend a lot of time just completely immersed in these kind of worlds, right? And it doesn't have to be like a game. Just I don't know how to explain it. I'm kind of going in circles here. Like if you're here watching my stream, right? You're a netizen. You have your virtual identity. Sorry, this is like sounding a little like too deep, and I don't mean it to sound that deep. It's just like I don't know how else to explain what I'm talking about, you know? EP raid, technical EP raid. What happened? Who's EP? Who's EP? I laugh at the word netizen, but I get why people use it. Yeah, me too. That's how I feel too. Oh, it's Rem! Hi, Rem! Welcome, Remies. Welcome. Wait, what's your thoughts on the 1995 classic Hackers? I still haven't seen it. I've been meaning to. I still haven't seen it. Welcome everyone. Welcome. So I don't know. I've always been really fascinated by that kind of stuff. And I've written essays about it in college. I was supposed to I was actually supposed to do a big project last year. It never happened. I was supposed to do a big project on this same kind of concept on like virtual identity and what it means to kind of like live in a virtual world as people, right? Because we're not the same people that we are online that we necessarily are IRL, right? I've always really liked when people call it IRL for offline and URL for online. I think that's kind of cool. Hi! Welcome, Shadow. I've always liked that kind of like terminology. I think it's kind of cool. Right? URL for online, IRL for... No, URL for online. IRL for offline. I think it's kind of cool. Sounds like an interesting thesis topic. I did write essays about this in school, actually. I remember in school I wrote a big essay about how people use their virtual like avatars to convey like an idealized human form and the trends that form and that kind of stuff. It was God, I sound really fucking nerdy talking about this. But I remember in the essay I like noted how a lot of trends like form in virtual spaces even though you're allowed to be literally whoever you want. A lot of trends and a lot of people will end up looking the same. For example, in VR chat, it's, you know, anime characters with glowing tattoos and chains and black clothing, right? It's very, very kind of like that, right? In Second Life, it was being like 6-7 feet tall, tan, and kind of like wearing edgy clothing. But it was very interesting how like the mainstream in that game was like being like tan and 7 foot tall. And it's just interesting because it's like, you know, you have a game where you can look however you want. And it's kind of interesting how people end up kind of like going for these looks, you know? Yeah, like the subcultures that form online spaces, right? There's yeah, I've always been somebody really fascinated with subcultures, and I guess that just extends to online spaces too. People dress like that at hentai cons. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, especially in I don't know, I guess one of the reasons that I think it's so fascinating is that like there's a lot of these virtual spaces where users get a lot of creative freedom. Like they can't, by nature they can't be heavily moderated. In a lot of virtual spaces, you can basically do whatever the hell you want, right? And it's not really moderated. A lot of like virtual spaces where like everything is kind of made by the people, made by the users, there's not really like moderation. Yeah, there's no big brother. Yeah, exactly. And I'm fascinated by this kind of stuff because, like, for example, I see it happening even in stuff like Roblox, you know? To me, Roblox is another. It's like silly to say it out loud, but it's another metaverse kind of place, right? It's the same kind of thing, you know? Gmod, I would count as something like that too. A little different, right? But like the way that people would do like Gmod roleplays, it's kind of like that, you know? It's all kind of in the same like space, right? I never know what words to use for how I feel about this stuff. Yeah, it is kind of similar, right? But anyway, what's Gmod? Gmod is it's Gary's mod. It's a game. It's like a sandbox type game using assets from games like Half-Life and like Counter-Strike and like a lot. Yeah. It's all like all the Source Engine games. It's like it's a sandbox using all that stuff, right? Yeah, source assets, right? Yeah. People, it's kind of insane what people will do in Gmod, and I think that's why I consider it a virtual space like this, right? Because people have made videos, movies, people have made like huge roleplay servers, people have made all sorts of things with it, right? Skibbity Toilet is basically made in Gmod, basically. And I feel like at a certain point, yeah, you become unmoderatable. Yeah. At a certain point, like there's only so much moderation can do. And I think that's really cool. I think that kind of like for me it kind of brings back the feeling of like the Wild West in the internet. You know what I mean? And because these kind of spaces are in the most like crude sense, because these spaces are free of normies, it becomes a really interesting spot. You know what I mean? It kind of has that same old internet magic to me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You find so many weird and interesting people because they're the ones who seek it out. Exactly. The only people you're gonna find in those kind of spaces are the people that seek it out. Instead of normies, there's unsupervised children with MetaQuest 2s. I think that's kind of like, yeah, I also hate dealing with children on the internet, but when I think about it, I think about how those, like, at least a percentage of those kids are gonna grow up with, like, a really deep appreciation for these spaces, you know? Because I kind of was one of those kids, right? I was getting into all these virtual spaces younger than I should have. And, you know, and I ended up like this, I guess. You know, I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with it, but, like, it's a complicated thought, you know? It's a complicated thought. It's a very complicated thought. Like, I hate dealing... Yeah, I hate dealing with squeakers. But, like, you know, I was once that kid. So, I can't hate on it too much. You know, they're literally just children, right? I can't get that mad. Anyway. Yeah, there's more microphones now than back then. Thankfully, every, like... Yeah, it's definitely not a safe place for children, but I also grew up a child with unmoderated internet access. So, like, I'm not really one to judge. You know what I mean? But, I don't want to say, look, I don't want to say I turned out fine, because I didn't. But... But I guess I could have turned out worse, you know? Yeah, let this be a real lesson to your children. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Anyway, so that all that kind of like context aside, right? That's part of why I was really excited for us to be a part of Sanrio V-Fest, right? Because my thoughts were, we get to be a part of this. We get to be we get to be a deep part of this kind of like celebration of virtual spaces. And as I'm not trying to, you know, like jerk off any company here, right? But I'm very happy that that's what VFest has kind of been turning out to be, you know? That it's starting to become kind of like the celebration of a virtual performance. And of course, you know, of course there's tons of money into it, right? But you can find these kind of shows without the corporate backing, you know? Anyway, I was just really happy that we had a chance to be included in this kind of stuff, you know? And I have to say, like, I really encourage everyone next year. Did you ever watch Ghost Stories? Yeah, I did. Well, kinda. I watched the clips. But I feel like the only thing it's got going for it is that shitty dub, right? Anyway, I would say, right? So this year, I made the effort to go to like every like parade that they had, every like showing, every like free show. And thankfully I was provided a ticket too, right? So the tickets for V-Fest were $50. At the beginning, I was like, that's really expensive. Is that worth it? But after going to almost every single paid show, I think I missed maybe one or two. I have to say, it actually was worth it. It actually was worth it. For like the couple weeks that it was going on, right? I made the effort to go to the shows. There were some things I missed out on just because some of it is like Japanese time. Right? I wasn't gonna wake up at 5 in the morning this time. You know, to go see stuff, right? I'm older now and I can't do that kind of stuff anymore, you know? I like my sleep too much. But I think it was worth it. And if I can be a little critical. I think the V4 Monet performance that we put on at V-Fest was unfortunately one of the weaker shows at V-Fest. And I say that, you know, having been in it, you know? I was one of the people that performed. But after seeing the rest of V-Fest, I couldn't help but think like, wow. Our show was kind of nothing, you know? It was still really nice. You don't get me wrong. But I couldn't help but compare it to everything else, you know? I think it's to be expected given how new V4 is to this space. I think so too. That's why I'm not gonna you know, go crazy, right? But how can I explain the rest? I imagine the other artists had experience putting on shows. See, the thing is, there were other musicians and other virtual artists that had never done virtual shows. Kou Mariya was there, Muna Hoshinova was there, and basically the norm for a lot of these shows is the stage is merely a suggestion. For most of the shows at V-Fest, the stage basically disappears, and it becomes this like really cool like show of lights, particles, effects. Like words falling from the sky, you know, you're spinning in space, or all of a sudden you're in a whole different world kind of thing, right? There was so much and it was so cool. And so I felt a little sad that ours was kind of just, you know, just us on stage. You know? And I tried really hard to show what V-Fest was like to everybody, you know? I'm still gonna try. I don't know if we'll have another chance to perform. But I want to learn more and more so I can keep pushing it. Right? I want to keep pushing it. Because, like, one of the things that concert did make me realize is that we are virtual idols. And I don't know how to explain that. That's like a feeling that I kind of forget about sometimes when we just do streams. VTubers like sometimes don't feel virtual in the same sense that kind of like a lot of the other stuff I'm talking about feels virtual, you know? I'm personally taking it upon myself to kind of bridge that gap a little bit. I'd like we are idols that exist in the virtual space, and I would like to kind of like bridge that a little more, you know? I think we are I think we should exist a little more in the virtual space and not just in conventions in the state of California. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I think if you're a V4 fan anywhere but the state of California, it's kind of suffering. It's kind of suffering, you know? But yet we are... It's not, you know, we're virtual people. And we live in a virtual space. So why can't we take more advantage of that, you know? Couldn't be me. I'm sorry you live in California, first of all. And this is why I think computer is cool. Right? This is why I think computer is cool. Because we have the tools necessary. We have the technology, you know? Make virtual identities up to real thing my usernames. I'm sorry. I've been thinking about the phrase computer is cool because I saw someone say that after a really impressive show at VFest, and I kept thinking like, yeah, computer is cool, you know? Online is cool. There's all these things that we can only do here. You know? And we're all here, you know? Whether you're here on your phone, whether you're watching from your phone, and whether you are like watching from your computer, you know? Whether you're watching live or whether you're watching a VOD, right? Like, that is the one thing that me and every single one of you listening have in common, right? Even if we have a lot of things not in common, even if we're all very different people, that's one thing we have in common, right? Like, we have online, and we are able to interact through it, right? There's more like-minded people probably in this chat than you realize with you. For me, online is really almost all I have, right? It's so incredibly sick that there's just a box in my room that has all my friends in it. Yeah, it's kind of, you can think about it. But I was really inspired after all the VFest performances to push for more. It's hard to read people in text. I know, that's why I use emojis and stuff a lot. It is kind of hard to read people in text. But that's why God gave us the smiley face, you know? That's why we have emojis. That's why, like, in the year 2025, I am unironically considering going back to using emojis like XD. You know? Who cares if it's like, who cares if it's outdated or if it's cringe? Like, you know? It brings a message across, and that's what matters. We can skip that one. You don't want XD back? XP is good. Yeah. They're all good. They're all good. It helps. I think it helps. I think it helps, you know? We don't have any way of like seeing each other's faces, right? Although that's changing, which I think is really cool. A lot of places now have like face tracking. Like, you know, VTubers have face tracking to see each other's emotions. VR chat has face tracking now. And so things that like before you couldn't convey with like you couldn't convey certain expressions, you know? Cuz like say I'm quiet, right? Like that, right? It doesn't convey any expression. But even without talking, even through here, through a video, through a stream, you know, if I go like or you know, whatever expressions, right? I don't need words to convey that. And I think that's really cool. Body language and facial expressions are such a huge, like... They're such an enormous part of how we communicate in real life, you know? And I think it's really cool that we are starting to have that online. You know? Toxic Trey was being a colon V user. Me too. Me too. I think it's really cool. Ultimately, we are all connected, right? We are all connected. And I love these ways that like we are becoming more and more and more and more connected, you know? So anyway, kind of back to B-Fest stuff, which is the reason I've kind of been so inspired over all this stuff. I think the $50 ticket was completely worth it. As long as you have like the time to dedicate to going to these shows, I think it was completely worth it. Because at the end of it, after seeing all these shows, I realized like this is kind of the best. Like they're showcasing some of the best in virtual performance. And it was very, very, very cool. Very cool. I think it was worth it. Obviously, yeah. If it's gonna be something ridiculous like that, you know, it's fine. I get it. You know, I get it. But I think if you have the opportunity and if you have the ability to get a ticket, I think it's worth it, right? It's only the last 2 times that I've been to the paid stuff, right? Because before I used to think the ticket wasn't worth it. Because I used to think like, whatever, you know, the free performances are good enough, you know, and they were. A lot of the people that performed in the free areas though, they got moved over to like the paid areas. Let me see if I can show you some of my screenshots. Hold on. So I did want to show some screenshots of like some of my favorite shows. So I want to show one that was really cool. So this is actually like a show or a picture that I took at the end of the show. This was for a group called Memex. Memex? Memex? These appeared originally, these weren't there. You just had to stage it first. As the music starts, these cubes start showing up with the music. And there's a holograph. There's a holograph of the main singer kind of like going through this as the music plays, and as like very minimal shapes like surround you, and you're encouraged to follow her. You follow her through this tube as like all of them kind of glow with the music, right? The music plays, and finally you watch her sing and perform, kind of just like floating in the sky. The stage only shows up at the end when the show's over. The real stage only shows up at the end, but that's kind of how it is, right? It's something that I can't really explain, because these VR shows put you in the show, right? They make so much of it. Where's another one? Hold on. Oh yeah, here's a shot of what that concert actually looked like while she's performing it. Like when all the like shapes and stuff ends, you're just in front of her and she's on these like very minimalist shapes, right? Very cool. There was also I got to watch also Suki no Mito from Niji Sanji. I really like her. She's really cool. And hers was like, even though hers was more of a traditional like idol show, right? The stage disintegrated. Everything goes crazy. She had the fucking planet Earth rotating behind her. She was in space. She was performing in space. See ya! She was performing from space. It was really sick. The screenshots don't do it justice because you're not allowed to film in these, but you can take screenshots. But like the planet Earth was rotating behind her. All the planets like come and like shoot out from behind her. And then, you know, at another point, there's like she's in the water and a big screen shows up, you know, showing her. It gets this crazy. You know what I mean? It gets super crazy. It was really, really, really good. Trying to find more screenshots, but I'm realizing now that a lot of the screenshots I took were not very good. Here's a really good one, actually. Hold on. So this was from the show by Kinu. This is by a show by Kinu. Kinu is there's a handful of people I consider like my Oshis in the virtual space. Kinu is definitely one of them. Kinu has always had insanely good shows, right? But this one was, I don't even know how to explain it, because it starts out as everybody gets put into a little sailor uniform. Everybody in the audience gets put into a little sailor uniform. Suddenly, the stage becomes a boat, and you are surfing through stormy seas, and there's waves crashing onto the boat and everything. From there, it goes on to like another area. It's I don't even know how to explain it. Everything just becomes this like incredible like show of light. You're just floating in space as you watch her do all this. It's like it's chills. It is absolutely chills. I don't know how to properly explain it. It's just so good. It was just so good. It was really, really, really inspiring. Really, really, really inspiring. And I'm really happy a lot of you got to see it. I was trying not to be too obnoxious about V-Fest stuff, right? Because I know some of you simply don't care about this kind of stuff. But if I can just kind of share my enthusiasm a little, maybe make you care a little bit, that would make me really happy. Because I think it's really cool. I think it's really, really cool. I think it's really awesome. I wish it's something that I could like fully show you, you know? I get a little shy about this stuff sometimes, you know? It's like showing a movie to like a friend and you're not sure if they're gonna like it, you know? It's kind of like that. I'm so passionate about this stuff, and I think this stuff is so incredible. But I know a lot of people just don't care, you know? But I think it was really cool. There is of course the Poco P show. Poco P is the duo of Pompoko and Peanuts-kun. They're two very popular Japanese VTubers and like TV personalities, right? Peanuts-kun is also a rapper. He does music, and he's actually like pretty well respected in the music scene because his music is actually pretty good. That one is like they're dancing and then suddenly you're in their like no, it starts out with like they're talking from the TV. They pop out from the screens. Suddenly the stage becomes all sorts of different stuff. There's a part where you're even like it even makes it look so that you are literally in bed next to Peanuts-kun. It's just like the stuff that you can do with it is crazy. You can make a concert where literally anything can happen. Like it becomes a disco hall, and then it becomes like the city streets. Then it becomes like a weird nightmare trip. Then it becomes a Japanese festival. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. Is it on his channel? Oh, cool. So I completely recommend, you know. And if you even if you don't, you know, like V-Fest is cool, right? But there's also other things like this similar that are free. There's a whole world of underground VR idols that perform. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, there's a VTuber, Tenno Yui. We performed with her last Christmas during the Oshi Live Christmas concert. She does a lot of like VR idol work. And it's really cool. She puts on stages and everything. Yeah, Mosaic That Wave Capsule performed in VR. It's really crazy. There's a whole world out there, you know? So I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool. I'm hoping to be able to put on more virtual stuff for everybody. I would like to be able to connect V4 fans together in a virtual space, because I think part of the beauty of being virtual is that we can connect with the whole world, you know? There's tabemonos all over the world. And it does frustrate me that if you don't live in California, you're kind of shit out of luck for a lot of stuff. It frustrates me too. I don't live in California. You know what I mean? I don't live in California. There's a lot of shit that, like, even though I'm involved in it, I can only see it from a screen. You know? It's frustrating to me too. Travel's expensive, exactly. It's expensive, you know, and there's... You know, there's so much. If you're not there, you kind of shit out of luck for a lot of stuff, you know? So, I think what we all at least have in common is that we all have computers. You know? There was the meet and greets we had last year for VCAT. I think were really nice. I think they've been really nice. I'd like to do stuff like that for us again. I thought Tabemono Fest was really fun because it was... You're able to be in a space with other like-minded people. And I know some of you were, like, shy. You know? And that's fine. You don't have to... You don't have to become a social butterfly. But I hope I can at least, like, give you this opportunity, you know, to be in these spaces. To at least give you the chance, you know? Tabemono Fest 2 and I'd like to do something this summer. I don't know if it'll be the same as Tabemono Fest. I'd like to do something similar, right? It'd be cool to have something that's not just like DJs, you know? It'd be cool to have like singing performances, like dancing, you know? I had so much fun because my setup couldn't run PR. You can use desktop! I don't know how many times I have to say this. You can play VR chat from your desktop. You don't need VR equipment. You can just play with mouse and keyboard. It's fine, you know? Your computer couldn't run it. Oh, I see. Well, we'll get there. We will get there. We will get there. We will get there. I will figure it out so that there's a way that even if your computer can't run it, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. No, wag me. We're all gonna make it. We're all gonna make it. We did have a stream going too. We did, but I feel like a stream is not enough. You know? A stream isn't enough. And I'll have to brainstorm, right? I'll have to brainstorm. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But just know that it's in my mind, you know? Anyway, that's kind of beside the point. Is cluster English user-friendly? I'm not sure, but we can figure it out. Hey Mono, how's it heavy hanging? Shut up. We'll figure it out. We don't need to brainstorm it right now. But I'm so happy at the fact that it's an option, you know, it's a possibility, and I'm feeling so inspired to have us be more and more and more involved in that kind of thing. Partly too because this is some of my own frustrations, and I'm sorry to any senseis that are watching, but it's called V4 Mirai because it's supposed to be like virtual for the future. You know what I mean? And it's at least my opinion that lately we're not doing too much for the future, you know? And it can't be helped, you know? A company can be pretty adverse to taking risks a lot of the time. And I know it's gonna be something that I'm gonna have to fight for a lot, you know? But I would like to see us doing some more things that nobody else does. You know what I mean? I assumed the V was virtual. It is. It is. Innovation might need to originate from the talents. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. There's a lot of things that... I say this as someone that used to not know whatsoever how the corporal world worked, even though I had been VTubing for years, right? It's very different on the inside. Business is tough. Business can be very tough, right? Thank you, Mello! You're doing great work. But I don't know. I want to do my best. I want to do my best to push for new things, right? I realize, and I've come to accept this a long time ago, I'm never gonna be like this huge famous VTuber. That's fine. To be honest, that's not really what I'm here for. You know? I'm not here to aim for 1 million views. I'm not here to, you know, to like become the next big mainstream YouTuber. I'm here to make art. And that's always what I've always liked VTubing for. A place, it's a medium, you know? I'm always so nervous talking about this stuff because I know that to some people I just probably sound really pretentious. Yeah, maybe I am. And so what, you know? So what? But I think I'd rather be passionate and kind of pretentious than like not care, you know? I'd rather be a little annoying about it and a little pretentious and like be indifferent. You know? There's been a lot of times where I've felt a lot of frustrated and part of I don't know if you guys have noticed, like I've been doing a pretty good job of like keeping my mental health in check, but the last week has been a challenge, right? You've probably noticed the last week has been kind of a challenge for me. The last couple weeks have been a challenge for me. Because it kind of felt like a lot of things were trying to, like... like, take out my flame. Like, imagine a candle, right? Like, it felt like a lot of things were trying to kind of, like, you know, take that flame away. I've had a lot of opportunities pass through. A lot of shit this week has not gone well. Thankfully I did get some good news about some stuff today. So I'm in a little better of a mood, right? But I've like made a promise to myself that I'm not gonna let you guys see me in like really bad moods and like really bad mental states anymore, because I know that stuff affects you guys too. And it hurts a lot to see you guys like suffering because of my suffering, you know? So I made a promise to myself a while ago that I'm not gonna let you see me like that anymore, right? So I want to make sure that you guys don't suffer. I want to make sure you guys are happy too, you know? I want to make sure I take care of you guys. But I've definitely felt like a lot of my burnout and a lot of my frustrations lately come from like feeling like I can't do the art that I want to for one reason or another, right? Yeah, you're right, Adam, but I still care. I still care, you know? When you're going through it, the whole like your whole circle, the whole community kind of feels it, right? So if I can at least make a little bit more of an effort to like help, you know, like bring you guys up rather than like sink you down into my Menhera, then I think I can keep that up, yeah. I'm not bottling it up. And it's funny because for example, a lot of the things that I'm like talking to you guys about, I've already actually talked to like senseis about, or I've talked to the girls about, you know, or I've talked to friends about. But to kind of summarize it in all one package, the way I've kind of been feeling... What about a therapist, bro? You think I got the money for that? You think I got the money for that? I don't have insurance. To kind of like summarize, right? A lot of how I've been feeling this week is I was feeling a lot of frustration over this like thought that all I want to do is make art. but I'm in a company. And for a while, it's kind of been feeling like all they want to do is make money, you know? And those things don't always go together. I want to make art. I want to make weird videos. I want to make weird streams. I want to make weird art, you know? Stuff that maybe might even put some of you off. But as long as it makes you feel something, you know? And that was always what I wanted to do. And for a long time, it kind of felt like... For a while, I kind of felt like people around me kind of wanted a different version of me, you know? There's been a long time where I kind of felt like being in a company, I should be a professional company girl. And a lot of that has kind of like translated into this kind of like suffocating feeling of like, if I make what I really want to make, no one's gonna care. But I don't know. I guess after crying a whole bunch this week, I'm kind of feeling like, who cares if nobody cares about it? You know? Like, who cares if I make something and it doesn't make money? I guess other people care. Sorry. Sorry. Anybody watching me from the senseis. But I didn't really necessarily join V4 for the money, you know? I think a lot of you already know the story of why I joined V4. And I don't know if I really should tell it again, right? I think I've told it plenty of times. I don't want to hold that story over anybody's head because like it feels like it's just like asking for like pity points, you know? And I hate that. But I want to make the art that I want to make, and then, you know, if you like it, cool, and if you don't, cool. You know what I mean? I guess some of you don't know this story, but if you're new to me, if you're new to my streams, right? I'd been doing indie VTubing for a very long time. Before me die, right? I was scouted, thankfully, which I have a lot of both pride and shame over being scouted. It's something that I don't really talk about much, right? I have a lot of pride in being scouted because it feels like, wow, you know, like somebody recognized me. Like somebody recognized the talents I have and the skills I have, and they believed in it. But then sometimes I feel shame on it because I feel like, well, I didn't go through the audition process like everybody else did, you know? And so that's kind of where the imposter syndrome tends to kick in. Like, man, maybe I don't deserve this like everybody else does, you know? But anyway, it's kind of like content warning for really depressing talk, right? I was doing VTubing as an indie. I had a part-time job. And I legit wanted to end it. I legit was like, at that point, I wanted to end it. And so, the day I got an email, like from a staff at V4 who is unfortunately no longer working with the company. I miss her every single day. But it was when I just remember like I was sitting in bed, just kind of like, you know, if you've ever been, you know, that low. There's kind of like a point, you know, there's like a point where you're like, haha, yeah, I kind of want to do it. And then there's a point where you kind of start thinking about how. And you kind of start planning, right? You're like, maybe I should go here. Maybe I should go there, right? So I remember just kind of like sitting on my bed, you know? Like being there. And then like crying and then being like, alright, well, you know, like... might as well do something today, you know? And I remember that's when I checked my email. And I'm not gonna be like, wow, this company saved my life. I'll never be like that. Right? But I was definitely in a point in my life where I was like, well, I don't have anything to lose. You know? Might as well try it. Might be fun, might not. I'll figure it out. And it's been both. There's been ups and downs. You know, there's ups and downs with everything. It sucks because this kind of field, like idol work, VTuber stuff, it's a kind of field where the highs are so high and the lows are so low. It gets a little exhausting. It definitely gets a little exhausting, to be honest. The dopamine roulette, God, that really is it. Every week, I don't know where on the roller coaster I am, right? And so... for sure, it's, you know, it's a really interesting thing to do. I like doing what I do. But there's a lot of it that, like, makes me frustrated. And so I think to deal with that, I kind of just need to, like... I think I just need to express myself more. And playing, you know, whatever flavor of the month video game that just came out, that's not how I express myself. You know what I mean? That is not how I express myself. And it's not necessarily the content I want to make either. Which is why I don't, you know? I don't really do that kind of stuff. Because I don't... That's not how I express myself, right? I have the most fun showing you guys weird stuff. Talking. We make an exception for hunting monsters. Look, it's not my fault. Monster Hunter is everybody else's flavor of the month, right? I have loved Monster Hunter since I was a teenager, okay? It's not my fault suddenly everybody and their mom cares about it now. When they didn't care about it, where were you 15 years ago? Where were you before? Where were you? When the games were portable, where were you before? Back in my day. Anyway. Anyway. What I mean to say by that is that I just wanna, like, all I care about is making art. And all I care about is, like, expressing myself. And all I care about is making something I'm proud of and something that I think is cool. It's funny that I got really heavily branded as like an art VTuber. And yet, you can probably count the number of art streams I've done on your hands, like on your fingers, right? I think that's lame. I think that's kind of lame. But I also don't think art streams are just that, you know? I do have a little bit of frustration over being very, like, kind of like caged into a specific persona. Typecasted, yeah, a little bit. When I was making my first outfit, this outfit that I'm wearing, and when I was making this design, I had to fight a little to not just be typecasted into a girl in overalls covered in paint kind of character. Because they really wanted to put me in that. They really wanted to put me into that. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna just be that. You know? Like, I'm not just gonna be that. And originally, I wasn't even gonna be a painter. I wanted to be a dream explorer with a big book. With a big dream journal. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I got kind of typecasted into painter role. Did they want me to compete in science space? I'm not sure. I don't know. But I guess at least my whole art theme has kind of been beneficial to like you know what I'm expecting, you know? Like Yuminiki Explorer. Yeah, like that. Like Madotsky meets patchouli knowledge kind of vibes. That's what I wanted, you know? That's what I wanted originally. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't really happen. I'm excited for my second outfit But to an extent, I still feel like it's a little typecasted. Not to spoil anything, but I do feel like it's a little typecasted a little bit. But that's okay. That's okay. I did my best. When will I use it? Comes out this weekend. March 22nd. Did they give me the book I want? No. Did I get to have more say in it at least? Kinda? Kinda? Yes and no? There's a lot of stuff that got like lost in translation as usual. A lot of stuff that like, you know, that like Kuro Papa kind of made a certain way. Right? I still like it though. Don't be discouraged. I still like it though. Can you call my boss and say I can't make it to work? Yeah. Yeah, yours too. Okay. I'll pretend to be your mom. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about not like rebranding, but like redefining my brand as Monet. But I don't mean that as like a... I don't know how to explain it. Like, I wouldn't be changing to something completely different. But I always felt like... No, not like that. Not like that. Not like that. It's... I feel like the word rebranding in the VTuber space is like very like, oh, I'm gonna change into something completely different. Like, no, I'm not about to become a fucking, I don't know, elephant VTuber or something like that. I'm not gonna become a shrimp. But it's more like, I feel like when I was doing my debut stuff and everything, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's not a transformation like that. It's a visual thing. I mean branding in like the visual sense of like how brands are, you know? Not branding in the... Not branding in that way. I mean like visual branding. Right? You know how like brands sometimes change their logos? It's kind of more like that. Or like how like a product will kind of change its packaging even though it's the same product, right? A little more like that. Basically, you want to exert more creative control over your visual identity than you were originally able to, I think. Yeah, basically. I feel like when I first had all my graphics and everything done, I couldn't really get what was really in my mind, you know? Now that I'm a little bit more in control, I feel like now I can make things really start to like feel the way that I want, you know? The aesthetics of things, the look and feel of things, right? It's not really something that's gonna affect you guys, right? It's not really something like I'm not gonna change. You know, my design's not gonna change. I'm not gonna suddenly start doing, you know, different stuff, right? I just feel like I need to update my aesthetic a little bit to more closely match how I feel. And that in itself is a part of how I express myself. Shrimp hot tub streamer. I'm just gonna be a boiled shrimp at that rate. But yeah, I think you guys get it. It's not... The thing that's a little... The 3 a.m. furniture rearrangement, yeah, you get it. It really is more similar to I want to rearrange my room and not rebranding in the sense of like... You know, in like the VTuber sense of like, I'm going to become a different character. Not like that. It's not like that. It's... I don't know how to... Basically, the only thing that would be changing is my freaking overlays. I don't know how to describe this to you guys. Because I see some of you being like, oh, I have trouble with change. It wouldn't affect you guys. This is a very personal thing. This wouldn't affect you guys. This would not affect you guys at all. I just basically wanna rearrange the furniture, you know? This wouldn't affect you guys whatsoever. I basically just want new overlays. Like, I want a visual refresh, yeah. You know, maybe a different start screen, maybe a different overlay, you know? The desire to redesign your Animal Crossing house, yeah. This sounds like it's just about assets that don't really matter much. See, I think you guys don't understand what I mean. I guess I'll just have to show you. Yeah. It really is more alike. It's a little more complicated than switching a desktop background. It's a little bit more involved and complicated than just changing graphics and stuff. I'm not somebody that has like a style that would change like that, right? Do you think your 2.0 model aligns with what you want? Not exactly, not really. Not really. This is a very personal thing. This is a very personal thing. I'm talking about theming stuff, right? No! No! I'm a little frustrated over this because I feel like the VTuber definition of the word rebranding has like changed everybody's brain on this. I feel like it's like how like the word graduation in the VTubing world just means something completely different. I really don't know. I really don't know. It's like you say rebranding in the VTuber sphere and everybody thinks I'm suddenly gonna show up in like, you know, with like, I don't know, orange hair and a different model and etc, 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 you know? It's a little bit more personal and in the way that I express myself and my art as a VTuber, right? Petanko Monet. You guys aren't ready for Loli Mono. You guys aren't ready. I guess it's part around the perception that VTubers are characters and a character must roll of a theme of sorts. I've never really liked that. I've never really liked how VTubing like just kind of like became this thing where everybody has to be a so and so and so and so thing. It's kind of why I never really acknowledged my so-called magical painter theme. You know? Because yeah, technically in writing I'm a magical painter. I never acknowledge that because I don't like that kind of theming. You know? Like... Because like I feel like VTuber stuff is always like blank blank. You know? Like profession, animal. Or... You know, like, so-and-so this, you know? More of a shift in how you want to be perceived / represented. Yeah, a little bit more like that. Yeah. I gotta... Flying paper stays in the closet. No, it doesn't. It still comes out. I don't have one in 3D, so I can't use one. But basically, I'm trying to make it so that my visuals look like something I decided on and not something that was like picked out for me. You know what I mean? So the visual style might change little by little, you know? Like something that's a little bit more me and in a way that I decide and not in a way that other people have decided for me, you know? Hi. Sorry, it's really complicated to try and explain something like this. But I've just been feeling a little frustrated that like a lot of the art that I've been making as Monet has felt a little like I kind of put myself under this like unspoken rule that I have to be like a specific way, you know? Because I'm in a company or whatever. It kind of felt like I had to sanitize myself a little bit. And these aren't necessarily rules I put for myself either, but like they're just kind of like factors from all over the place, right? It's like how like you get a job and like you're not feeling like you don't feel like you can be like your real unhinged self at work, right? But I'm kind of feeling like maybe I should take that risk. Like I feel like I'm wasting my time by not being that way, you know? Feel like I'm wasting my time by like trying to just kind of like stay a sanitized version of myself. And that makes I think the word sanitized makes it sound worse than it is, you know? You know? To a certain extent, working for a company, there are moments you will self-censor yourself because you aren't certain. Exactly! Exactly. There's been a lot of times where like Yeah, exactly, where I like self-censor myself because I'm not sure if this is like the right thing to do, right? But then I like see stuff like performances. The reason I've been thinking about this stuff like after like V-Fest, right? Is because like I see all these performers and they're not being too safe. You know? They're bringing a product that has feelings, that has risks, that has like all this stuff, and it still resonates. And I'm getting older every year. I can't keep like waiting. You know, I can't keep waiting until the day that I'm gonna be able to make the art that I want. So I kinda it's kind of like this feeling of like I gotta just kinda like slap myself out of it, you know? I've gotta let my passion out a little bit. Hmm. Hmm. I guess maybe I'm just kind of feeling lately like I don't really have anything to lose, so I might as well start taking more risks, you know? And I realize and I know that I have a very big like privilege being on the stage that I get to be on. But I feel like I'm not using it to the extent that I want to use it, you know? You know what I mean? I'm fired up for you. Thank you. I'm fired up too. Both from frustrations, inspirations, a lot of feelings in me, you know? I know I'll always kind of be like a runt in the company. That's fine. I understand I don't have mainstream appeal. I don't really want it. That's not the kind of person I am trying to be. It'd be nice to make mainstream money, you know? It'd be nice to not live in a little closet that's falling apart. But I guess I feel this way because, like, for example, there's a lot of like project preparation going on right now behind the scenes, right? We've got a lot of stuff planned. Covers, concerts, events, all sorts of stuff planned. And sometimes I don't know, sometimes I kind of like feel like I don't fit super like perfectly into that. I don't think I don't fit in. But sometimes I feel like I'm not the perfect shape for some of these. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. Beto, thank you so much! It would be nice to make that Nirvana money instead of the butthole surfers money. But I mean, look at how it ended up for Nirvana. Can't wait for the 2.0 to be person. Thank you, Shiny! Thank you. That's dark. I mean, but like, all you have to do is see, like, you know, you listen to all those like interviews with like Kurt Cobain, you know, and how he talks about like his feelings about a lot of stuff, right? Like, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I do get it. I totally get it. I still don't really feel confident in my singing or my dancing or my idol kind of stuff. I want to be on the same stage as all the other girls, but sometimes I don't feel like I like fit the image of idol that kind of like everybody else has, you know? I'm not here to just like criticize VTubing. I think it's more that it's such a medium for me and I don't feel like I'm utilizing it the way that I want to. And at the same time, I do have some frustrations about how a lot of people don't like I don't know. Almost no one has an ideal idol image in view for when I don't eat your head about it. I guess you're right. I guess you're right. And I think that is kind of part of the beauty of it. I think that is kind of the beauty of it. I guess I do get in my head a little bit that like I'm not Are you frustrated that by default singing and dancing is considered the peak of the medium? A little bit, yeah. A little bit. If I had to be honest, a little bit, yeah. And this isn't like all the stuff I'm talking about is not necessarily like about V4. So I feel pretty happy in V4. I definitely feel like I fit in better here than I would in like any other company, you know? Also, by the way, Demon Warrior, thank you so much for 2 months! Thank you, 2 months of Museum Curator. We love you, Mono. Thank you. And thank you, Notorious BSG, for 15 months of Takara Mono. Never cared about the singing and dancing aspect of YouTubing. It's so hard to say how I feel because I do. I like it. I like it. I do like the singing and dancing. I hope you guys don't take what I'm talking about today, and I hope you don't take my words as like the Bible. Because a lot of these feelings are feelings that I'm still kind of working through and figuring out how I feel. You know? Hmm. Hmm. I can't say I'm like frustrated singing and dancing because I like singing and dancing. I like that too. But I guess I just want to see. I just want to see more. You know? I just want to see more. I love idol stuff a lot. Like I've grown up a lot following idol stuff, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I guess I just want to find the part where I shine, you know? I don't know. I don't even know if that's right. Ah, sorry. I'm so my head is spinning because I don't feel like I'm expressing myself the way I want to you guys, but at the same time it's because my feelings aren't solidified. Everything I'm saying right now, I might completely change my mind tomorrow, you know? Everything I feel today, I might feel completely different tomorrow. These are all still very developing feelings, you know? But I feel like you don't figure it out unless you say it out loud, you know? But I really appreciate and I'm really this is drunk texting. What? I really appreciate and I'm grateful for this like chance to just like kind of like bounce thoughts back and forth like this, you know? I think you have a bit of that deep ambition that makes you want to push and do something nobody's done before. It's true, but I don't know. Thank you though. Thank you for 15 months of museum curator Rubix. Thank you, thank you. Remember what Tonic said, never trust never trust how you feel about your life after 9 p.m. I think about that a lot. I do think about that a lot. I don't know. It's like I don't really know what it is, what it means, how it'll be, how it looks like. But all I know is that I feel a little unsatisfied. And I guess I'm just trying to fight against that. You know? Like I don't know the words for it. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I don't know what it's supposed to be like. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I don't want. You know? But all I know is that I don't want my light to go out. I don't want to see the Monet piece get shoved into the square hole just because we can make it fit. We need to look for the one hole. Thank you, Corin. Thank you for the super chat. I guess I'm ready to grow. I'm just ready to grow. Like I don't want to take these feelings of dissatisfaction and just roll with them. Like I want to do something about it, you know? And I guess I just got to figure out what that something is. And so it's because of that that I just kind of feel this fire of like I gotta make more art. I gotta do more stuff, you know? Do you feel like the problems are long term and you want to enjoy the right now? Not exactly. I don't know, I just gotta figure stuff out, you know? They say Monet is a work in progress. I think it'll always be a work in progress. I think Monet will always be a work in progress. If you're seeing a therapist is a perfect thing to talk about. Am I using you guys as my therapist. I'm sorry. Maybe this is what this stream is. So sorry. I'm so sorry. The thing is, one time I talked to a therapist about this stuff and she just wanted me to like start some freaking online business, and it was like not what I wanted at all. You know? Like I ended up only seeing her that one time because I wasn't satisfied. I was like, I don't think this lady gets it. You know? This is more of a blunt rotation. We need to do a blunt rotation stream. Acro, thank you so much for 10 months of museum curator. Love seeing the fire in your heart burn and the passions truly take hold. Let yourself really express in your own way and find the place you truly wish to be. We'll be along the ride supporting you. This is a long time ago. This therapist that I was talking about, it was a long time ago. I've had some really good therapists before though, but I don't have insurance right now. That's a little TMI. But I don't have the means to get that kind of stuff right now. You know. Means a lot that you're willing to open us to so much. Thank you, Firemaker, for 15 months of museum curator. This is my only job. Yes, it is. And I do feel like sometimes things would be a little bit simpler if it wasn't. You know? I feel so bad anytime. There was like one time that I was talking to my friend. We were in her kitchen. We were making pasta, right? For a bunch of people. And I was talking to her, and because like she has a lot of shared kind of like work experience with me. She works in a lot of fields that I used to work in too before I started doing VTubing stuff. And she knows what I do. She's watched my streams and everything, right? She's always supported me. But I remember while we were waiting for the pasta to boil, for the water to boil for the pasta, I was like just kind of like complaining about like work stuff, you know? And I keep like feeling guilty about a thing I said where I was basically being like, man, I wish I just had like a normal job again, you know? Like an office job, like a 9 to 5 again. Because I was like, it's so much simpler. And she definitely gave me this like response that was like, you know, like that kind of like, girl, you play video games for a living. Like, you know, it was like that. And oh my god, like I get it, you know? I get what she means. It like I still think about it so much. Right? I still think about it a lot, but like I remember the way I explained it to her, I was like, I mean, you're right. But like there's a lot of simplicity that you have in like a regular job, you know? You show up to the office and you do your work, you get along with your coworkers, and you go home. But it's hard to explain it because like I've worked both, you know? I've worked both, so I know basically it's just work in general. Just work in general sucks, you know, no matter what it is, right? But I remember like just kind of like complaining to her, right? That I was like, there's so much all the time, you know? Like there's so much all the time, like, you know, it's like social structure, like bonding outside of like work hours, all that stuff is like very big in like VTuber stuff. Like it's a job that you never truly clock out of, right? My feelings have changed a lot since that conversation with her, but I'll never stop feeling like cringe at myself for saying the things I did to her. You know, just like being like I just wanted to complain, and I think I like kind of like undermined her job a little bit by doing that. You know, I think about it a lot. Because it's not like her job. It's not like her job was easy either, right? She worked in like healthcare kind of stuff. It's not like her job was easy either. I just think about it a lot. I think about it a lot. I think about that conversation a lot. I have, you know those really cute like you know those really cute like holiday pictures that couples take for like Christmas cards? I have one of those of her and her husband and her dog on my fridge. So I think that's why I think about it a lot, because every time I go to the fridge, I see her face and I see her husband's face and I see her dog's face. And I just think about that conversation. She sent me a little holiday card of her and her husband. It's like, keep it on my fridge. Like, I keep it like with a magnet on my fridge. It's like, I think that's why I think of that conversation a lot. And I've been thinking of like going to go see her again, right? So I don't know. I think that's why I've been thinking about it. But I think, yeah, it's just like every time I think about it, I just kind of think like, man, like everything sucks for everybody. You know, like life really isn't easy for literally anybody. And I try to think about that a lot. I try to like think about like putting myself in other people's shoes a lot. Because it isn't easy for literally anybody. I don't know. I try to think about that so much. Truth nuke. Shut up. I'm going back to the idol stuff though. There was like I've had a lot of meetings in the last couple of days, right? And so one of the topics brought up in one of the meetings was like, oh, we should make, you know, we should like make a thing so that the girls that do idol stuff can kind of like be separated and do more hardcore idol stuff. You know? Like kind of like a unit. And I didn't like that idea. Because even though idol stuff isn't my branding, right? I didn't like the idea of like being kept out, you know? Because I'm working hard too. And I like being on stage too. I like performing on stage. And I was pretty happy with something that Sensei said. Because she wasn't really a fan of the idea either. And she was kind of like she was saying something along the lines of like, well, I think part of the appeal of having everybody in the concerts is that like, yeah, some of you are already good at singing and dancing. But like for a lot of you, it's the idol journey that people really like to see, you know? get it, because it's like I used to really like watching videos of like Ame from Hololive, right? You know, and like you hear her first karaoke streams, and then you hear her karaoke streams for like, you know, like years, like, you know, her last like month in Hololive kind of thing. And it's crazy different, you know? And that's kind of the appeal. Like every concert, you can see your favorite member, and you can see how much they've grown, right? I had a lot of pride, even though I was kind of unsatisfied with some of my own stuff in Mirai Wonderland. I can't feel too bad because I know that I put like my all into it. And I really put my personal all into it. In a lot of ways that I can't talk about. But it was cool for me too. I got to see myself grow. That was really cool. Oh, I've been blabbing so much. Sorry. I guess I really needed to talk about a lot of stuff, huh? I know my feelings about everything I'm talking about are probably gonna change. I think that's just natural. That's just normal. I do feel a lot better. Letting it all out though. You will be billed by the hour. Eh. I'm not gonna lie, there's times that I just kind of like I get really frustrated and I just think to myself like, why couldn't I just be in a 9 to 5 like married and pregnant right now? Like, why did my life have to end up this way? Like, why am I not fucking married and pregnant in a house right now? Like, I wouldn't have to worry about any of this shit, you know? I think about that sometimes when I'm really frustrated. Why couldn't I just be normal? Is my biological clock ticking? Okay, maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. But sometimes, you know, like when I get really frustrated, I'm like, man, fuck making art. Fuck all of this. I'm gonna go get knocked up and, you know, work an office job, be a secretary, work at a call center or some shit like that. I'm sorry. Those are my rawest thoughts, okay? Those are my unfiltered rawest thoughts. Like, damn it! I should have just been one of those girls that finds a rich dude, gets married, gets pregnant, and fucking calls it there, you know? Ah! Unfortunately, I am too stubborn. don't like the idea of someone. I don't like the idea of like living off of somebody else's income. I don't like that idea at all. Thanks for the super chat. I don't like that idea. What about double income, no kids? Okay, that might be nice, but unfortunately, right now I'm living the single income, no kids, two cats life. You know. I'm a little embarrassed telling you guys my. I'm a little embarrassed telling you guys my my very like raw feelings of when I get really frustrated. I'm like, fuck. Why couldn't I just be fucking barefoot in the kitchen? God damn. It is not physically impossible to get married and have kids as a VTuber. I guess not, but like, I don't know how people have the time for that. And like, if I had kids or like a marriage, I feel like I would rather be spending time with them. You know what I mean? My mom always told me to like live my life first and then get married and have kids. And I don't know if that was good advice or bad advice now. Cause now I'm this old and I'm like, I'm still not done, you know? I'm still not done. So like, I don't know if it was good advice or bad advice now. I'm starting to lean on the side that like maybe it was bad advice, you know? And it's hard because I do want to be a mother one day. I would like to get married one day and have kids. But inside me there are two wolves, right? Inside of me there are two wolves. One of the wolves is you want to be a mom so bad and you want to get married and be a mom so bad. And the other wolf is you want to go live in the desert in a studio by yourself and paint until you die. Those are the two wolves inside of me. Those are the two wolves inside of me. Angel telling me to get pregnant, devil telling me to become a hermit. Real. Real. Life is hard. Life is hard. Everything's kind of rough. Everything kind of sucks. But I guess... I don't know. I don't know. I'm so full of thoughts. I'm so full of thoughts. So many things to think about. But for now, I think I'm just gonna keep making art. I think for now I'm just gonna keep making art. And I guess I'll just figure it out as I go. You know? I guess the reality is that sometimes, even though you think, or even though you want your life to go a certain way, the reality is that it doesn't always go the way you think it will. And I guess that's what makes it exciting, right? I guess ultimately that's what makes life exciting, right? It doesn't always go the way you think it will. I certainly didn't think I was going to become a company VTuber, but here I am. And you know what? It's not so bad. It's not so bad. Husband isn't gonna spawn in your room. You need to take action. I can't believe somebody's in my chat telling me to go find the husband right now. You can spend half your time devoted to your art, the rest devoted to getting pregnant. Shut up! I hate it here. I hate it here. I fucking hate it here. Yeah, where are you, my mom? I don't know. It's a curse that it's like a blessing and a curse that I'm a very solitary person. I am very happy being someone that does things by myself. I travel by myself. I go to restaurants by myself. I go shopping by myself. I live by myself. I'm pretty okay with it. It gets lonely sometimes, but I'm pretty okay with it. Like, it's kind of nice, you know? Like, I've definitely become a very, like, solitary kind of person. I like it. Wish I lived by myself, sick of living with roommates. I understand. I've lived with roommates before. I do, however, living by myself, I do sometimes wish I like at least had like a face to say good morning to sometimes, you know? Like even if it's a roommate I don't like, it'd be nice to at least be able to be like good morning, you know, or like you know, like to know that there's somebody else there. That phase my cat. I mean, yeah, that's how it be. That's how it be, you know? I think one roommate is fine, three is too much. Yeah, I had three roommates and it was a fucking nightmare. I know what you mean. But now that I don't have that, you know, there's definitely times where I'm like, man, I know it kind of sucked, but you know, I do kind of at least miss having people there, you know? Hmm. Lived alone for a decade or so now. Yeah, it's been a couple of years for me too. Nice. Like it was rough at first, right? But I kind of like it now. I kind of like it now. I do kind of like it now. It's kind of nice. Hmm. I could never live with family again though. My mom loves to like, well, she doesn't do this anymore. But when I was kind of struggling first with like bills and stuff like that, she would always be like, "Are you sure you don't want to move back home, honey? Your room is still right here. You know, you can live and you can work here. It'll be fine." And I think like, God no, hell no, hell no, no way, no way. I can't do that. Nah, no way. You'd never do that again. Even living with my sister. I lived with my sister for a couple of years when I moved away from living with my mom. Even that was like, hell no. No way. No way. I think I'm doing alright for myself right now. I think I'm doing alright right now. Being able to watch whatever with the door open is awesome. Sometimes I just have my Dakimakura up on the naked side, and it don't matter. Can't jerk it loudly. Couldn't be me. I can jerk it as loud as I want. I can jerk it as loud as I want. Until the noise complaint hits, like we've been talking about cool, wholesome things up until about now. I promise it's been fine until about now. The only times I've gotten noise complaints were one time that I did a DJ stream with the window open. And then because it was really hot, so I did a DJ stream with the windows open, and then and then the second time was fucking stupid. There was literally just it was after that Pico Park collab. The last Pico Park collab we did, on the V4 channel. I thought it was Illbleed. It was around the time I was playing Illbleed, but for some reason, like the day it actually happened was the day I was playing Pico Park, and I feel like I wasn't even loud that day. You know? Yeah. It hasn't really been an issue since then. Cause like 99% of the day I am dead silent. Like 99% of the time I am dead silent. I do not make a peep, right? Like I'll listen to music on my speakers, but like you don't even hear me talk. I only talk during stream, and then like when I get into like voice chat sometimes, you know? Yeah, the other timer said is like streaming and jorking it really loudly, you know? Exactly. Exactly. And my snoring, I don't think I snore loudly. I'm pretty sure I do snore a little bit, but I don't think I'm a loud snorer. I don't really have any way to know though. Like, I know I snore a little bit, but like, I don't think I'm like sawing logs, you know? There are probably phone apps to record. I don't like those. I don't like those like recording you apps. That's weird. Cause then like, what if it's like one of those things where like, you know, like I listen to the recordings and then I hear someone talking. You know? Or like I hear a voice or something. I don't like it. I don't like that. My bro snores like an airport runway. There is somebody in this building. There's somebody in the building that like sometimes snores and I hear it. Like at a certain point in the night, I just hear the snoring through the walls. It's very funny. I think it's like somebody in the floor above. I just hear it. Yeah, I hear their snoring sometimes. I don't know. I think it's kind of like comforting. A little bit. It's like, yeah, it's like very faint, thankfully. But it's like, it's enough that I can hear it. And it's like, it's that kind of feeling of like, oh, nice. You know, there's humans here. You know, there's humans in this building, right? You're a silent sleeper. Sometimes I moan. Can you imagine? You're like sleep. I'm like sleeping, and you're like, ugh. Can you imagine? Yeah, it's kind of comforting. The snoring is kind of comforting. Don't be saying Tascada. That was like the most like fake, deep, made up moan I could have done. That was like the most like not me moan I could have done. That was like a fake like. No, I'm not gonna burp yawn. God. You're talking in your sleep. That's gotta be scary. No, they don't call me Monet. No, shut up. Shut up. Aren't you ashamed of saying these things out loud on a train? Everybody on this train can hear you, you know? Have you seen public transport people? You have a point. You do have a point. You do have a point. Don't worry, I'm blasting music on my JBL speaker, for fuck's sake. Anyway, I think I've kind of said all my thoughts. Well, that's not all my thoughts. But I think I've said the majority of my feelings about a lot of art stuff. I've been consuming a lot of art lately, so I've been thinking about it a lot, you know? I've just been thinking about it a whole lot. And I also feel like I have to be on my toes. Cause there's a lot of copycats out there. There's a lot of people that love being copycats out there. And so I feel like the only way to escape them is to just keep making new shit, you know? Keep making new shit. I hate when people step on my toes, so it just means I gotta keep running. They can't step on your toes if you keep running, right? You keep going ahead of them, they can't reach you. They can't reach you. So that's part of my motivations, right? Anyway, this has been a really anyways, talk. I I've spent the last like 3 days in just an awful mood. Just an absolutely awful mood. I didn't get shit done yesterday. Or the day before. Just yesterday. I was just like feeling fucking awful. You know? I ended up just like I ate food and I was so mad yesterday because like I ordered sushi, I ordered Sad Girl sushi, and the fucking driver took my sushi. So I had to reorder it. Made me really mad. Made me super mad. So, welcome to being monomist. But I ate my sushi yesterday. And I just kind of like... I don't know, man. At that point, I just decided, you know what? I really embodied... I really embodied that, like, meme of the elephant guy from Final Fantasy XIV being like... I really embody that guy, that elephant being like, just give up. Try again tomorrow. Just quit for today. Tomorrow is a new day. Just give up. When you have a bad day, go home. I was really feeling that. So yesterday I ended up just like, I ate my dinner and I was just like, fuck it. I ain't getting shit done today. You know? I ain't getting shit done today. And I sat on my couch, I took a nap, and I watched some YouTube, and then I went to bed, and yeah. Yep. That's how it was. And that's how it's been. What's a happy girl dinner? Sushi also. I want sushi when I'm happy, and I want sushi when I'm sad. That's how it is. Anyway, I think it's a good time to wrap up now. As much as I'd love to stay and talk all day, I'd also like for the stream to just kind of like not just turn into like blabbing. You know what I mean? I mean, it has been, but I'd like to stay, have it be somewhat concise, you know? Pineapple on pizza is very tasty. It's very good. Enjoy your time at the gym. There's not gonna be a ton this week of like times to have a lot of chats like this, so I'm really glad I got to have some Satsu time with you guys. What's coming up next is tomorrow I'll be playing Final Fantasy VII on Twitch again. I'm gonna take Friday off to prepare for the new outfit reveal stuff. And then Saturday will be busy. Yeah, we'll have a lot of fun. Yeah. I talked about this on the Discord, but I'm probably gonna have to cancel. Probably gonna have to cancel the stream on Sunday. Cause Sunday is what's it called? Sunday is the day for the Voltail 3D showcases, and we're not allowed to overlap. So I didn't realize that the showcases were gonna be so early in the day. So yeah. So I gotta cancel it. Anime club? I guess we can still do anime club. It's not a stream, so it's fine, I think. I think it should be fine. I think it should be fine. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you around on YouTube, Discord, Twitter. A reminder that if you haven't already, I would really, really, really appreciate if you, I would really, really, really appreciate if you, what's it called? If you submitted a guess to the hashtag #PedaliteNewFit. Oh yeah, Twitch tomorrow. Yeah. Here is the link. I would really, really love to see your guesses so that we can have something to show off during the pre-stream. You don't have to draw all 3. Just let it be known. You don't have to draw all 3. You can just choose one and draw one outfit. Thank you to everybody that has submitted something already. It's just fun. It makes it fun. It doesn't have to be all 3 girls. It can just be me if you want. It can just be just Yae if you want. It can be just Mari if you want, right? And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Your messages are coming through. It's fine. Anyway, will you pop up and get it 100% accurate? It's very fun seeing the guesses. Anyway, I love you all so much. We're gonna make it. We're gonna be our best selves, no matter what happens. I should hopefully have some good news to share with you guys soon. Should hopefully have some good stuff to announce soon. And yeah, I love you all so much. Never forget that. Never forget that. I think about you guys all the time. Non-stop. All the time. I care about you all so much. And so, really, I want to do my best for you guys. Because I want to be somebody that can inspire you and can light a flame for you. You know? I love y'all so much. Big smooch on the train. I'll see you guys around. I'm gonna go chill for a little bit, and then I need to start working on shit like ASAP. So I'll see you all. I love you all. Stay with me. Oh, it's Curry. Oh, it's Curry. Mwah.